Well, hey, Hope Community Church, it is Pastor Trevor here, and you are about to watch the series recap all about practicing the way the last series we just did as a church. And it was such an awesome conversation with me and Nathaniel, diving through each of these things about what does it mean to be with Jesus, become like Jesus, and do what Jesus did. We're excited for you guys to hear this episode, so let's get into it. Well, hey, what's going on, dude?
What's up, Trevor?
Hey, man, welcome to the series recap.
Are you welcoming me or our audience?
I'm welcoming both.
Okay, thank you. I received that.
It's
Thank
a
you.
fourth screen break, something like that. I don't know.
Fourth wall. That's what
Fourth
you're looking
wall.
for. That's what
Yeah.
you're looking for. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there are 4 walls here, so there we go.
Yeah.
Then the 4th wall. Anyways, hey, how are you?
I'm good. You know, they call it that because like your stage set has 3 walls. And the 4th wall is where the audience is. And so when you break the 4th wall, it's when you look through the fake 4th wall to the audience.
I see.
Yeah. Like on a theater stage, right? You could have, or in a sitcom, you'd have 3 walls. But the 4th wall is where the audience is sitting.
Huh.
That's
I
what
never
they
knew
call it that. There you go.
Interesting.
How's that for banter?
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Well, hey, I have a fun little banter for us. I have been kind of taking out coffee. I still drink some coffee. I've been taking it out and been going the tea route. I want to know what's better. Tea?
You've been removing coffee.
Been removing.
Oh, I was picturing like you taking coffee out for a nice dinner.
Yeah, I am.
You've been taking it out.
Yeah, I just take it out. Yeah,
What
we went and got tacos last night.
Sorry. You're removing coffee.
I'm removing coffee.
Okay.
And I've been going Earl Grey and some like, right now I have this like peach green tea, which is great.
What? Why?
I just find that it hits me different. I don't know if
In
you've
what
ever
way?
noticed that. Like, I find that like usually I can tell like I get like my heart is just like more elevated throughout the day, and I can like sense that. But if I'm drinking green tea or black tea, it's not the same. I've also found like I can drink it and enjoy it. I don't get like the caffeine headaches the same later in the day. Maybe that's just because I'm super dependent on coffee and I just need to strip back coffee in general. But I find that I can drink it in the morning, feel good longer throughout the day without needing another cup of coffee. If I'm like staying on a tea route compared to like a coffee route, you know what I mean?
I mean, I guess a little. I don't. You know, I just like coffee. Like I'm drinking decaf coffee right now. This doesn't even have caffeine in it. I just like it. So I don't know. Like I don't. Yeah, that's great. I love tea. Sometimes I think I could be a tea guy.
Yeah.
Like I actually keep decaf Earl Grey tea to drink in the evenings because I like the taste of it.
The taste of it? Yeah.
Sometimes the only time I think about switching is, you know, like sometimes if you drink too much coffee, you can get you get tummy troubles. You know, I think tea might be easier on your tummy.
I don't get the tummy
trouble
stuff.
Yeah, we would never speak of such things outside of that. We're just going to call it tummy troubles.
Tummy troubles.
Yeah.
Yep. But we all know what we mean.
No. We know about
We
the
know what
tummy
happens when you
troubles.
drink coffee.
Yeah. And so sometimes I've thought about maybe I should maybe not totally switch, but maybe do a little both. It's interesting though with the caffeine because like I've heard that green tea has more caffeine in it than coffee does.
No, I think green tea only has around like 30 milligrams.
What does coffee have?
I think like 90. Yeah.
I think the energy.
Are you
drinks
thinking
that-
matcha?
Maybe. I think the energy drinks that you were drinking maybe had more to do with your headaches and stuff.
Yeah. I do like energy, but I don't drink those every day.
Oh, okay.
I don't drink those every day.
Okay.
Only when I know like I'm really tired, like I knew I was going to get back late, or I knew I'm going to have like a longer evening thing, I'll do like a energy drink to kind of help give me some energy.
Well, my one of my favorite television characters of all time, big Earl Grey guy. So
let's go.
Yeah, and you know who it is. You don't know who it is.
I got this. Your favorite? It's a Doctor Who.
I've never seen Doctor Who. But British is correct.
British. Is it X-Men?
No. But this person has also played an X-Men.
Oh, man. I got this. You said TV show? MASH.
Mm-mm.
No. Not British.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Starship Enterprise.
Oh, yeah. Star
Trek Next Generation. Portrayed by...
Yeah, Patrick Stewart.
Sir Patrick Stewart. That's right. Yeah. Yes, he is very famous. Anybody who's watched that show, he is very famous. He talks to the computer and he's like, tea, Earl Grey, hot.
I'm just imagining that, like, out of everything in Star Trek, he was like, this is the one thing I need to play in this show.
I like the idea, that he just drinks a lot of Earl Grey tea and he worked that into the character so that he could just be drinking it on the
It's like Mace Windu having the one purple lightsaber.
Come on. Yeah. Sam Jackson was like, I'll do it, but I have to have the purple lightsaber.
Yeah, gotta have the purple lightsaber. Otherwise, I'm not doing it.
And when Sam Jackson asks, you just give him what he wants.
Yeah.
You know?
Otherwise, it's just green and blue.
Yeah. Lame. Okay, we should talk about what we're here to talk about.
Hey, we...
You have a very appropriate shirt for today.
Yes. I was like, oh, hey, we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to rock the shirt today.
I should have worn that. But I'm wearing green jeans, and it was too green. Anyway, sorry.
You're rocking the IA.
Yeah.
The shirt, the cup. Do you have your socks on?
No. I mean, I am wearing socks, but not those.
Not IA socks. Yeah. That's probably a good distinction to let people know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey.
But you know, there was a time when, like, everybody was wearing boat shoes. And, like, we just didn't wear socks. Remember that? True. Like, we just all had, like, Sperry boat shoes.
Yeah. I never got into that. I remember seeing people do that.
Yeah, you were probably a little too young. That was like when I was in high school and college.
I just started wearing Chacos instead.
Chacos? Yeah.
Yeah. Just let the whole dog hang out.
I keep distracting us.
It's all good. Well, hey, you just did Practicing the Way. And you talked about this whole idea of be with Jesus, become like Jesus, do it as Jesus did. I have like the book here from John Mark Comer.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that because we didn't really talk about the book at all this time.
Yeah.
And maybe we should have. So a lot of the thoughts come from this book. It's a really great read if you are interested in practicing the way, want to learn more about it. Yeah, it's really great. Easy read. One of my favorite things about John Mark Comer is that he takes really complex things and makes it really digestible.
Yes.
So anyway, we maybe even have some copies of this book here at the church if you wanted to purchase one.
I think we have some extras still, yes.
But you can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Yep.
Anywhere books are sold.
Yes.
You can buy it. It's a great book. And that's the inspiration of kind of the series.
Yeah. Yeah, so talk to me about that. First week, you talked about be with Jesus.
Yeah, but really first we talked just setting up the whole idea of like what practicing the way is about, which I think is important. Again, the whole idea of this is to like go a little bit deeper. So I think I've talked with our church before, but one of the things that really burdens me as a pastor, I don't know, people might disagree with me on this, but I think especially in the community where we live, most people have at least some sort of background or connection to church somewhere along the way, right? They've been to church, they've been to a vacation Bible school or an Easter service, or, they have a grandma that's, a Christian or something, and they've heard the gospel, right? Yeah. Meaning the way that we use it, colloquially of like, Jesus is the Son of God who died on the cross for your sins. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times, like, what keeps me up at night is not that there's people in our city who haven't heard the gospel, which obviously, like, if you meet people who are like that, we should definitely be able to talk with them about that. Yeah. But I think what we have more of in our community is people who know that basic truth, but have been taught such a simple version of it. They have never allowed that to actually change their lives. They thought about it as a one-time moment, a prayer. And I think our churches, not just this church, but our churches are filled with people who maybe are Christians by the like prayed the salvation prayer sense, but have not actually been shaped by Jesus. Yeah. And so that's what I'm so captivated by with this is all about allowing my life to be changed, the way that I live to be shaped by Jesus Christ. Yeah. And how do we go deeper into that? And I think what I love about practicing the way too is formation is a human thing, not a spiritual thing. And so it's this idea that just like, I love the introduction of this, like you don't even have to be into Jesus to understand the beginning part of this practicing the way.
Yeah.
It's helping people awaken themselves to the reality of I'm being formed into a kind of person, and I should probably pay attention to what I'm allowing to form me. Yeah. Right? Like we all have influences that are shaping us and changing us, and most of us are not paying very close attention to what those things are.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to be in on Jesus to start
truth,
there, to acknowledge that truth. And that leads to a conversation about Jesus, like, well, we believe the best way to be formed is through this. Yeah. But first, it's just this awareness. I think the first step for so many people is awakening to the reality that things are forming me, and I'm not thinking about it. So that's the big theme, and that's what we talked about, be with Jesus at the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything to add on that before I jump in? Or
yeah, no, I think you're on it, right? I think most people have that very basic idea. I think we're definitely in our area. Like, I would say it's probably rare for somebody to not actually know who Jesus is or some version of Jesus.
Yeah, to not know the story about Jesus' death and resurrection, and
But I think it's ended for most people as I said this prayer. I say I believe in Jesus, but it's really just like an intellectual assent to just say Jesus did die on the cross for me. Yeah. And I'm not going to hell, so heck yeah. I'm going to do my own thing.
And maybe they don't believe that. Yeah. But it's not because they've never heard it.
Yeah. 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 And so, it takes that next step to say, okay, what is next for me in following Jesus and understanding that? And I think the thing that John Mark Comer does really well, definitely in his book, is set up this idea, as we'll kind of talk too, of these three things of like, this is not a linear thing. You don't do one and then you do the other and then you do the other, but you're kind of working at all three of these.
Yes.
And taking note of your actions and your environment and all the things around you of what they're doing to you, which I think is just such a good thing for all of us. Like you said, no matter if you're following Jesus or not, to keep an eye out on. I mean, I feel like it's talked about all the time in the tech world of like not understanding how much your tech is affecting you. And I think at some level we all understand that. But it goes even deeper of how everything is shaping us, how our mornings are affecting us, the time that we give to that when we're just constantly waking up really quickly and rushing out the door, that is affecting you. If you're the person who's like I said, like chronically like always drinking more coffee because you need more.
Whoa.
Sorry. That was me. That's why I'm cutting out coffee. I needed more and more caffeine. But also, I just love.
I was trying to slurp that as loud as I possibly could.
There's for sure that one person watching right now who's like, "You lost me. I hate that noise."
I almost coughed. I was slurping so hard, I almost like wrong pipe. Sorry.
But all of those things are forming you. And so really being aware of what those things are doing to you is so good to really keep hold of. I think about there's the Practicing the Way course that's kind of separate from the book a little bit, but kind of ties in. And there's a whole week where your homework for that is to look at all of the things, how your family, how your home life, how your routine, how your work, all of those things, and to take note of how they are forming you.
Yes.
And it's such a good practice to really stop and write out how these things are, in fact, changing the way that I think about things, changing the way that I see certain people, changing the way that I interact, changing the way that, I see the world, essentially.
I didn't get into it. So, again, the big feature of Be With Jesus Week is we talked about spiritual disciplines, and I do want to talk about that.
Yes.
But, the setup for that is what you're talking about. And one thing I didn't really get into that day is I think for a long time we have believed that we're all too busy to do stuff. And I used to believe that. And I feel like I am busy. And in some ways I am. But I think if all of us were having an honest evaluation of our lives, most of us just give away so much of our time doing nothing.
Yeah.
And we're so unaware of the amount of time that's lost being a zombie staring at a screen. Again, that 7 hours a day on a screen. And if you think about, I made the joke of like, we all have a full-time job that's staring at a screen. But like, if you think about like, many of us have jobs and then we do that.
And then we're doing it more.
Yeah. Like think about that. Like the free time that you have, you're giving to that. And you feel really busy because you get home from work and you say, I got to eat dinner before I could do anything else or whatever. And all of a sudden you're staring at your phone and you look up and it's 7:30 or whatever. And you're like, man, I don't know how I have time for anything. But then maybe it's something, if you're listening to this, everybody's phone will tell you, you can look up how long you're on a screen every day. And Apple will actually you could have a notification. It will just give you, it will tell you how long. And everybody's phone, you can look up how long was I on my phone every day. Yep. And it is shocking. It is shocking. And I wonder now, actually, if we're actually not that busy. We just are, as Rolheiser says, distracting ourselves into spiritual oblivion. Because, man, I look at how things used to be or what people used to be part of, and, they would have friends and hang out, and you were like, we don't have time for friends, but somehow every time there's a new TV show, we blow through 30 episodes in a week. It sounds like we've got a lot of time. You know what I mean? Like we tell ourselves we're so busy, but really what it is from 7 to 11 every day, we're just watching brainless whatever. And I love shows as much as anybody, and I think that can be good for your soul occasionally too, to just like be able to like not have to. But unfortunately, we are choosing that every day. And then saying we're too busy to have relationships. And I think that is really broken. I'm trying to awaken myself to more relationships and even just more hobbies that are not screen related, or trying to engage in things that are tangible, because to your point, what we give our attention to is what's discipling us, right? And so we're not even aware of it. And, the other thing I didn't get into is like AI, right? Like now we're talking to chatbots instead of real people. And people are not thinking about the way that's forming you. And this is real. You can Google it. Like AI bots are designed to make you feel good. They are amenable and they agree with you. You know what I mean? So like, it's designed to agree with you. And so it's forming you into a kind of person, and it will never challenge you. And that has a deeply formative impact on you. And so anyway, I don't know. I think it's really important that we create different habits, which is what Be With Jesus is about, is saying, instead of spending more time with my phone, can I spend more time with Jesus?
And too, to the whole AI thing is, there's no such thing as an unbiased AI either.
Come on.
All of it has a bias set in from its creator on what it does and what it's meant to do. Whether it's very out there and open about it or not, it all has a bias. And so we got to keep that in mind. I love Cal Newport. I think you've read one of his books too, like the whole deep work. He has this whole thing of like, most of us aren't busy. We're just busy doing pseudo productivity.
Come on.
He calls it.
Yes.
Is like this fake version of productivity where we're really just doing more things to make us seem busy, but really like it's not needed.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah. One of the examples he talks about is he talks about email a lot. like a lot of us will go back to checking email again and again. And so we fill our time up going back to email throughout the day constantly. And he's like, you're going to find that you've wasted a lot of time just going back to check your email. Oh my gosh,
I do that all the time.
And you didn't actually, like, it wasn't productive. It's more productive to just wait at the end of the day, do all of it all at once, and then be done with it. So that's one of those things he talks about where sometimes, like, you're not working on, like, a good, deep thing. You're just falling in on these, like, small things, like checking email and things like that.
Yeah, feel that. Yeah, sometimes we get stuck in, like, tech loops, right? Where you, like, check your email, and then you look at Facebook, and then you look at Instagram, and then you go back to your email, and then you look at Facebook, and then you look at Instagram, and then you look, and it's like the same thing over and over again. You're just on that
same loop.
Oh, my gosh, you just do it over and over and over again. Yeah. Right. And then we get done with the day, and we're like, man, I've got so much to do. I didn't get anything done today. I'm so busy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that costs us relationships, and it costs us soul care, and it costs us good rhythms with the Lord. You know, like we give up so much doing that. And I think maybe I'm awakening to this reality that many of us are not as busy as we believe.
Yeah.
We just are giving our time away, and we're not conscious of it. It's a literal addiction to our phones where you compulsively reach for it without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then you lose 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And anyway, I think that's really important to acknowledge. That I didn't get into so much. But again, the whole idea of Be With Jesus is that we replace some of that time with healthy disciplines that are related to connecting with Jesus, right? To spend more time with him, to allow him to be the formation agent of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you're about to get into to Be With Jesus some more, but, you know, I think oftentimes, an important thing is realizing that sometimes some of these things will mean removing things that we're doing in our life to replace it for something better.
Yeah. I mean, Comer talks about that. Pretty much everybody in this space talks about this, right?
Yeah.
Like, doing these things is actually about doing less, not more.
Yes.
Right? Like, doing this well, being with Jesus well, is often about starting with less, not more. It's taking things out, not really adding things in.
It's so funny. I just saw I just told you I got Instagram back, and I was on it earlier, and I saw John Mark Comer had this thing. I think actually somebody else posted like an interview of him talking about it, and he's like talking about oftentimes I have this ceiling of like what I can do in a day. He says, but then there's a second ceiling of what I can do in a day where I still have the fruit of the Spirit at the end of it. And I was like, dang. That's just so good. Anyways.
Yeah, it's good. But so we talked about being with Jesus, things like reading scripture, prayer, silence and solitude, Sabbath, fasting, right? All these are disciplines. They're different rhythms that help us direct our attention towards Jesus with the hope of allowing him to be the primary formation agent of our lives, right? So Richard Foster talks about all the disciplines can do is place us body, mind, and spirit before God, right? Yeah. It's not that fasting makes me more like Jesus. It's not reading scripture doesn't make me more like Jesus. But through these disciplines, I turn my attention towards Jesus. And he helps me become more like him.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about, is creating new rhythms and habits that help me keep my attention on Jesus, spending time with him. We talked about this, right? Like, the people that you spend time with change you. The more time you spend with someone, the more they shape who you are.
Yeah. And
Jesus is the same way. Yeah. When you spend more time with him, he changes you. So that's the first week. We talked a long time about that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Is there more you want to talk about on that kind of idea?
No.
No. You ready to go for next one?
Is there anything else you wanted me to say?
Oh, no. That's really it.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about some of the practices and how you can do that.
Yeah.
You know, there's all kinds of great resources out there. So I don't know that I need to rehash that. We talked about that in the sermon. But
yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Week 2. We kind of talked about become like Jesus. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. You know, this is the hardest one because it's intangible.
Yeah.
Right? How do we know if we're becoming like Jesus? You know, I didn't talk about it this time because I wanted to feel like the sermons were different. But I often, when I talk about this, talk about the fruit of the Spirit, right? Like, if I need to know, am I becoming like Jesus? Well, can I see the fruit of the Spirit evidenced in my life?
Yeah.
You know, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control, right? So, like, do I see these things in my life? And do I feel like I'm experiencing more of those things? That's how I know if I'm becoming more like Jesus, because this is the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Right? The evidence of the Spirit in my life is my life bearing the fruit that the Spirit bears. Well, this is the fruit that the Spirit bears. So if I am seeing and experiencing more of those things, then I must be becoming more like Jesus, because that's the fruit of the Spirit of God in my life. So I'm going to say them slower. So there was love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. Am I experiencing more of those things? Am I becoming more patient, more joyful, more loving, gentler, more in control?
Yeah.
Well, this is the evidence that I'm becoming more like Jesus. But it's harder to do because you can't check it off of a list in the same way, right? Like reading scripture, that's something that I know that I've done or not.
Yeah.
Do what Jesus did, serving people, practicing hospitality, that's something I know if I've done or not.
Yeah.
Becoming like Jesus is harder to know if I've done it or not tangibly. So that's why it's really hard. But this one, sorry, you're getting ready to go.
I was just going to say, and I think sometimes too, like, I think it's hard because you'll have some days where you're like, man, I feel like I was super patient today. You have other times where it's like, my patience was really tested today. And so sometimes it's hard to really measure where you are too on that.
Yeah, and we're never really done, right? We talked about that passage of scripture where Paul says, like, we're becoming more like Jesus with ever increasing glory, right? And that's really the hope, is that we're moving towards Jesus with ever increasing glory. It's never finished, and so this day we talked a lot about the critical journey with the 6 kind of stages.
Yeah.
I never really preached about that before. It's terminology I'm familiar with. They talk about it in the Practicing the Way book, but I'm just kind of learning more about it. I am starting to like dive deeper into the actual book that is that. But I'm captivated by it, and it rings true for my experience of spirituality and formation.
Yeah.
Of just like this awakening to God, and then this, wanting to learn from people, and you're learning the values and things that are important, and then you start teaching other people, and you start becoming a leader, and then you hit the wall, man. That's where we spent most of our time, where all the things that you're used to doing aren't working, quote unquote, working anymore, and you start to feel lost, and you almost wonder if you've been misled or betrayed, because for the first time you're experiencing resistance in this amazing thing. Yeah. Like for the whole journey thus far, like everything's been so good and exciting and wonderful. And if you had pain, it was obvious because you had messed up, and you interpreted that as I'm not experiencing the joy of the Lord because I made foolish choices. Yeah. But then you hit this time where like you're looking at, very Job-esque, right? Where you're looking at your life, you're like, I don't think I'm like messing this up here. Yeah. It's just not working anymore. Yeah. And it sends us into this crisis, And I don't know. I don't want to get too mystical, and I don't want to feel like I don't have conviction or whatever. But there was an important part for me on a journey through the wall of just acknowledging how little I know about stuff. And I think that's, for me, that's the wall. Is before the wall, we know everything. Yeah. Or we're learning everything, and we feel like everything can be known. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so we create in crowds and out crowds, and we create boundaries and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden we get there and we realize that our rules, this is like scripturally, right? This is the law, right? Where the people believed that if they followed the law, everything would be good. Yeah. And then we get to the New Testament, and it's like, hey, the law was never going to be able to fulfill us. It was never going to be able to do what we really needed it to do. Yeah. And there's actually this thing, Jesus, that's bigger than that. And I think that was kind of my experience too, of just like, not that I don't have any convictions or that I don't believe in anything or don't think there's right and wrong, because that is absolutely not. Yeah. But I think I had to embrace mystery a little bit to understand that I don't know everything about God, and I never will know everything there is to know. Yeah. And to acknowledge that I was wrong about some things. And to be open to the idea that I still have more to learn. And that's okay. Yeah. So I don't know. Everybody's experience is different. It's not right or wrong to be in any of those places. I think it's part of our journey. And again, I actually think that those phases are actually things that we kind of maybe go through multiple times, and we come back around and all that. But that's what we talked a lot about, is becoming like Jesus, is kind of going through those stages and walking through that with Jesus. But when we get on the other side of the wall, man, there's just this ocean. I almost felt like I started back over at phase one in some ways, where I just like had this new awakening of closeness with the Lord. And that was very special. I don't know. I said in the sermon kind of scarily, like, I become more certain about Jesus as I become less certain about everything else. And I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but to me it does. That's how I feel. Because I'm so in on Jesus, but I have less energy to fight about some of the things that I used to want to fight about.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I think there's always that part where, at least for me, where it's like, man, I want to know everything that I can know when it comes to God. There's also another part of me that wishes I never learned everything there is to know about God, and my life is spent continually learning more and more about him.
Yeah, well, that's what it's going to be. So I have good news for you, Trevor. That's what it will be.
But there is this like thing inside where it's like you want to just be able to say you know it all and like have it, right? There's that almost I would hate to say confidence. It's not really confidence of being like, I know it all. Like, I absolutely can understand it. Like, you can look at say a math problem, and you can say, I know that 2 + 2 is 4, so I know like what there is to be known about this thing. But I think that's what makes it so beautiful, is stepping into a thing that says, man, I don't know it all, and so I need to have trust, and I'm going to I will probably, hopefully, throughout my life, know more than where I started, but I'm never going to fully know everything. But I'm going to trust in a God who fully knows me.
Come on.
And fully knows my heart and my desires and my temptations and where I mess up and where my strengths are and everything there is to know about me. And I think there's something so beautiful about that. If somebody wanted to dive deeper into this idea of the critical journey, I know you said you were kind of reading the book.
There's a whole book. Yeah, there's a book called The Critical Journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
do you know the author of it?
Janet Hagberg and
I can put it in the description.
And that other guy.
The other guy. Yep.
Yeah.
And I can put that in the description too if you are listening or watching and you're like, I'm curious more about this idea of the critical journey.
Yeah, and I have not read that all the way through, so full disclosure, if somebody buys that book and reads it because we're talking about it and it says something
wild.
Crazy, I just want to acknowledge, I'm not endorsing it.
So far, it's not bad, but it could
it
could pivot.
Just want to acknowledge that before anybody comes for me. Yeah.
So what do you...
But I think it's really important too, just what you said made me think of it, is so many of us were raised in a culture, not even just in the church, but just everywhere, that has told us that you can't get started until you know everything, or you know what I mean? And in the church, a lot of us were taught questions are bad, doubts are bad. And so we felt like we had to have all of the answers and know everything. And we have this fear. So many of us still have this fear of I can't talk to people about Jesus because what if they ask me a question and I don't have the answer? Yeah. And I think for me, this journey was getting comfortable with being I don't know.
Yeah.
And I actually think even the people who pretend like the people who go debate atheists and stuff, who have debates, I'm not saying apologetics is bad or wrong. I actually think it's good to know what we think about things. Yeah. So I do think it's good to learn those things. But those people who do those debates and just have an answer for everything, I'm just being honest, some of those people they're just fake. They do not know everything.
They just hit something on the fly.
Yeah, they don't know everything. And none of us know everything. And you can know a lot, but you'll never know everything. Yeah. Because some things are literally just unknowable on this side of heaven. And so I think there's a freedom for me in embracing that I don't know it all. And that's okay.
Yeah.
like you said, it's being comfortable with not knowing it all, but knowing a God that knows me.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so I don't know. I think that's part of why this is so hard, is so many of us were taught that questions or doubt were bad. And so if we had those things, it meant that my faith isn't real.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, when I started asking a bunch of questions and being unsure, my faith got deeper. I found more of Jesus. I did. I love Jesus so much more today than I think I ever have in my life. I flipping love that guy.
Yeah. He's a cool dude.
He's so cool. He's so cool. Yeah, but it came from this freedom of like, I don't know, and in some ways, like, isn't it dumb that we would want to serve a God that we know everything about?
Yeah.
Like, how big could God be if I as a 24-year-old knew everything that there was to know about him?
Yeah.
Like, how cool could he really be if I could fully comprehend him?
Yeah, everything is just formulas.
Yeah,
if
like
I just
how
do
cool
this
is
specific thing, then I know it will get done. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I guess that's kind of my posture. I don't know. Somebody's probably going to come for me with that. It's kind of a little mystical, and I don't know. Somebody's going to say that I don't have convictions or that I don't care about anything, and I can assure you that's not true, because I'll stand wherever Jesus wants me to stand.
Yeah.
And I will fight for that.
Yeah.
But some of the things that I used to really care about are less important to me now, and I want to lead with grace.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to keep talking and get into trouble, so we better move on.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
With that whole idea of the critical journey, I know you said you're still kind of looking into it and reading the book and all these things, but for somebody who maybe that resonated really well with them and they're like, man, I feel like I am stuck in the wall, what is something that somebody can start to do that helps them in that time?
I think first is find a mentor or a friend who you trust to be honest with about your life and experience. I think one of the things that can happen in that time is you feel really lonely and you're scared. And so you feel like you can't talk about it, because if you admit to somebody that you're struggling, they'll feel like you're walking away from Jesus. And so then you feel like you can't talk about it. And so then you do walk away from Jesus because you
feel alone.
Yeah, because you feel alone. And so I think it's really important that you find a place where you feel comfortable talking about it, and find a safe friend or a mentor who can just talk with you and listen. I think that's really important first, is just be honest about what you're experiencing. And then to be ultra pastoral, like take those prayers to God. Like I've been pretty open about one of the hardest seasons of my life. I felt closer to God during that season than I ever have, even though I was miserable. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like I have prayed to God since, talking to him about how I miss how close we used to be when my life sucked. You know, like I'll sit in my prayer time and I'll tell him like, man, I don't want to go back there, but I do miss how close we were then. And there was a truth in that I don't know. I was learning about how my trust and belief in the closeness of God wasn't built on circumstances, because the circumstances were horrible, but God was so present, and I don't know how to describe it other than that. I just know he was there, and I had a peace and a confidence about that. And so take your prayers to God and stop trying to polish your prayers. You know, so many times we try to pretend with God, but he already knows how you feel. So if you're really angry and hurt and mad, you don't have to pretend like you're not, because he already knows. He knows that you're angry and hurt and mad. So just talk to him about it. You know, anybody who's a parent, you know this, right? Where your kids are lying to you and you know that they're lying to you, and you're like, just be honest. Like, you know, we can deal with it if you'll just tell me the truth. Like, I know that you're not being honest, so let's just deal with it and let's talk about it. I can handle your honesty, so let's talk about it. We can't do anything if you're going to keep lying and pretending. You know, or maybe you've experienced that with, you know, a girlfriend or, you know, a spouse where you can tell that they're really upset and they just like won't talk to you. Like, well, just talk to me. Just tell me about it. I already know. So let's just talk about it.
Just say it.
Yeah. But we try to pretend because we feel like it's wrong to be mad at God. But if you read through Scripture, there's a lot of people being mad at God.
That's
So,
true. That's true.
yeah, there's a whole book of Lamentations, right? Just lament. All it is lament.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. Do you think, I think you talked about this before. Do you think there's this idea, and you said oftentimes people go back and forth between 1, 2, and 3 and all that stuff. Would you say there's probably an opportunity or probably a chance of like multiple walls throughout a person's life?
yeah, that's what I was saying is I almost think about it like a corkscrew. I don't know what they'll say in the actual people who studied it, but I think of it like a corkscrew where like you might just keep drilling down on that circle.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I feel like on the other side of the wall, they have stage 4, but in some ways it feels almost like going back to stage 1 where I just felt like I had this epiphany about God and I'm living in that sweet season again, you know, and then I'm running into realizing like, oh, but this isn't perfect either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you kind of run through that same thing. And so I think, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think definitely.
That one person who's like listening and they're like, please, no more walls.
Yeah, for real. And that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody loves the wall, but you appreciate it when you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, St. John of the Cross, who kind of coined, not the wall, but he's kind of introduced this idea of the dark night of the soul. He says that God's primary way of forming us is through suffering.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but anybody who's like lived through hardship with God knows that that's probably true. Like you probably learned, I feel like everybody I know, you learned more about God in that really horrible season than probably most any other season of your life. And that doesn't mean that we pine for suffering, but it allows us to walk through suffering knowing that God's with us. Yeah. And I think that's it. Like, it's not that I want to suffer. It's just if I'm gonna, I can have solace in knowing that God will walk with me through it. And I'll probably experience more of his love than I have known before.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I like it.
Yeah.
But it gives me peace through it, I guess.
Yeah. So we got to the final week of it, Do What Jesus Did. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so Do What Jesus Did is just that. It's living our lives in a way that we adopt some of the things that Jesus adopted. The big part of my message for this was just kind of like listing off the things that Jesus actually did.
Yeah.
And one thing that we didn't get to a lot of, but like is pretty clear. I'm reading through Acts in my own personal study right now. Like the disciples did a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think the thing here is we don't believe that we actually can do what Jesus did. And so I think it's just kind of taking this acknowledgement that like, if I'm going to be an apprentice of Jesus, a disciple of Jesus, that means that I need to live the way that he lived.
Yeah.
And so that means that I need to be open to the Spirit's leading to do things that Jesus would do. Yeah. And so some of those are really scary. You know, I made the joke about casting demons all the time, casting out demons, which again, I don't think is going to be a main feature of our lives.
Yeah.
And I think many people can just become obsessed with that, and I think that's really unhealthy. In the same way we can like become obsessed with the end times, and you know, people live their whole lives in Revelation, and I'm like, okay, Revelation matters, but like there's lots of things that matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I mean, even basic stuff, like people just say like, well, I'm just not good at prayer. That's not for me. Well, okay, I'm sorry. That's a no-go for me. Like this is the way that Jesus lived his life, and we should aspire to do the same. Yeah. And I think prayer's for everybody, you know, loving and serving the least of these, right? Like that's for everybody. Yeah. You know, eating with people who are far from God. Anybody can do that. Yeah. Living in community with other believers. Anybody can do that. And it's this idea of changing our mentality to making that an expectation for us. Like this is not just, that'd be cool if. It's, no. If I'm a disciple of Jesus, this is what I am doing. Yeah. You know? Not a like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if that worked out? It's, no, this is the goal. Yeah. This is what I aim towards. I expect to do this because that's what being a disciple of Jesus means. Yeah. And I believe that through the power of the Spirit of God at work in our lives, we can do those things. Yeah. You know, we can be empowered by the Spirit to do what Jesus did. And I think, again, when I say that, people jump to the big miraculous things. And I don't focus on that. Like that, I mean, I believe in those things, and I'm trying to learn more about that. But I'm just saying, like, most Christians don't do the basic parts of what Jesus did.
Yeah, you're focusing on the wrong.
Yeah, like, cool. Like, if God leads you to pray for somebody and they're healed, like, we celebrate, and I believe God does that. But if you're hearing my sermon and you're like, Nathaniel told me I have to cast out demons and heal the sick, like, that's great if that's what God leads you into. But you're using as an excuse these big things to not do the more accessible things.
Yeah.
You know, you're saying, well, I can't cast out demons, so I'm not going to have dinner with people.
Yeah.
I can't heal the lame, so I'm not going to pray for anyone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's unacceptable. That I feel good with that language. That's unacceptable for a follower of Jesus to just say, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The whole point of following Jesus is that he gives us the power to do what we could not do otherwise.
Yeah.
Philippians 4:13, right? Everybody knows that. I can do what?
All
things through Christ who gives me strength.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we believe. So let's miss me with all that other stuff. And so many Christians just sit their whole lives on the sidelines, never doing anything.
Yeah.
But I believe that God has called us. He's created us anew in Jesus, you know, for good works that he planned for us long ago. Like all of us have calling and purpose. And so I think we need to pay attention to that. And we need to believe that through the power of the Spirit of God at work in our lives, that we can do what Jesus did.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, like, because it can be intimidating. Like, if you look at, like, I think on a starting thing, just say when it comes to the New Testament, you hear some of these stories and they seem wild. Even in New Testament with Peter and Paul and the disciples, and you're saying Paul brought a person back to life after he fell off a rooftop, hearing him talk.
Yeah, I love that one. Don't fall asleep in church.
I know that's
because you'll fall out a window and die.
And it's like
that's Acts 20. Look that up.
Yeah, it's almost like it feels so separate. So you're like, I'm just not even going to focus on it because it's not even something that could be real in my life at all.
Right. Yeah, or like when they're just they're wanting the apostles' shadow to fall on them.
Yes.
To be healed.
Or like Paul's handkerchief or anything like that. And I believe those things happen and can still happen. But I think if you're going to scriptures looking at that and saying that feels almost too supernatural and far away, and that just happened then and doesn't happen now, I think you're going to miss out on the ways that God is moving in your life now, because you're not actually looking for the Spirit in even the small things near you. You're only looking for the Spirit within the big things. And I think that's one of the hardest things that I see with most people is they're only looking for God in the biggest things and not the small things.
Come on, let's go. Yes.
They're not looking at the small little mini ways that God has continually showed up time and time and time again and trying to show himself to you. But you see one big thing that did not happen or that you won't believe will happen, and you're like, well, I guess God just doesn't care about me.
Yeah.
And it's like God's probably sitting there going, do you not see everything else happening around you right now? I'm trying to show myself to you.
Yeah.
But you're too focused on the wrong thing.
Yes.
And, I think when we care more deeply about seeing God in the real, small, everyday thing, those bigger things either A, don't become that worrisome to us, and B, probably seem like they could be a thing that would actually exist and be real for us. But it starts with that careful, everyday, intentional time with God that we say, hey, I want to take notice. God, can you help me to see where you're moving around me today?
Yeah.
And sometimes it is the smallest little thing, and you can just know, okay, that wasn't just coincidence. God, you helped in that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It can just be the way that you have a friend or a family member or something just say something out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, hey, that was I needed to hear that, and I doubt that he knew that I needed to hear that exact thing. And but it starts in that continual daily discipleship of saying, I want to see where you're moving each and every single day, and let that to carry you into that next thing. And I believe when our eyes become awakened in that, it's easier to then see, oh, hey, God's probably wants me to help other people also, and be that light for other people, and to go on, like, when we see somebody in trouble, to be like, oh, hey, God's helped me. I should probably go also help other people.
Yeah.
I've seen God show up for me. I should probably go show up for these people right here. And let that not just be a thing that we hoard to ourselves, like we just want God to show up and love and bless us and all these things, but say, yes, God has done this for me, and I'm also doing this for other people. And to help that be a thing that we cultivate inside. But I don't even know where I'm going with that anymore. But yeah, I think you're right that we focus too much on the big things and we miss the small things.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast this week, and they were just talking about, like, this is true in, like, pretty much anything. The obvious example, like weightlifting, right? Like, generally, to be stretched and grow, we can do about 10% of what we could do now, right? If you want to grow, you got to do like 10% more. If you try to just jump straight ahead to 80% more, it'll hurt you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think this is spirituality, right? Like, again, people listen to my sermon and they're like, well, I can't cast out a demon. And so they like are skipping a bunch. They're trying to like jump from 0 to 100.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But maybe it's just a 10% stretch, right? Like if you're lifting weights, you know, you can do 150 pounds. All right. Well, 10% of that is 15 more pounds. So push it up to 165. Don't put it up to 250. You're not going to be able to do that.
No.
That's actually going to hurt you.
Yep.
You know? And then it'll be discouraging. But if you just do that 10%, you'll feel the stretch.
Yeah.
But you can do it. And I think that's spirituality too. Like it's don't go from 0 to 100. You know?
Yeah.
Do a 10% stretch. What's 10% more? What's a 10% leading in there? And so that's it. So don't start with casting out demons. Don't do that. Start with prayer. Start with eating dinner with someone, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's about. But we can't just believe that God doesn't want me to live my life Jesus' way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, we have to believe and expect that as we become followers of Jesus, we will do the things that Jesus did.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wakes up one day and is randomly a marathon runner.
Exactly, yeah.
It started from probably going out and just going 1 mile. And doing that for probably a few weeks to a month, to upgrading to the 5K, to the 10K, to all the way over to half marathon, to marathon, and more. And you have to take that time individually. Each and every single day.
Yeah. Yep. And so I think that's it. But the big thing for me is you have to believe, though, that you can do what Jesus did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, that's the series, Practicing the Way. Is there any last thing that you had about Practicing the Way as a whole for the church, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is how we kind of orient our formation here at our church. You can go to our website. We have a whole page about all these things. You can find resources about how to practice some of these disciplines, how to do some of these things. Some of them are on your own. Some of them are with us. But we talk and think about this idea a lot as we're putting things together. We believe in it. And we really believe and expect that everybody who's a part of Hope Church will engage in this. You know, being a part of Hope Church is bigger than just showing up to our Sunday services. We want this for everybody. And so we'd love for you to begin a journey again. Start where you are, not where you think you should be. Don't try to do it all at once. The whole 10%, all of it, right? But start somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so what's next?
Called.
Yes.
So
Talk to me about that.
This coming Sunday, we're joining actually with churches all across the Church of God, across the country, and we're going to talk about calling. So this Sunday, all of us pastors, ministry people here at Hope are going to talk about how God has called us and our own kind of stories around that and what calling can be, and ask everybody at our church to kind of wrestle with, like, hey, what is it that God might be speaking to me? But yeah, we really are focusing on calling.
Yeah, that's good. It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And keep on a lookout, because very soon after that, we'll have another episode.
Yeah, it's just a 1 week thing. And we got a special called episode.
Special called episode where
series recap.
It'll be all of us around the table here.
All of us. That's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Well, awesome. Well, I think that's it.
Well, almost.
Almost.
Shout out to John Trick.
John Trick.
John, we love you. Now we're done.
All right, now we're done. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Series Recap. The Series Recap exists to encourage people at Hope Community Church to continue to engage with their faith and their formation even after Sunday is over. Our hope is that we can keep formational ideas and concepts in front of us during the week to help redirect our attention back to Jesus as we learn to practice the way of Jesus. We'll see you guys next time. God bless.